Open to life. Well, Helen, we are your energy group. So the theme is open to life. What is your highest and best message for today? What should you be doing? Obviously, opening to life. Everything is synchronicity. You pull a card from a deck. It says open to life. That tells you should open to life. Basically, anytime you do something like that, when you step into a moment point, and that's what happens just before you pull the card, you have stepped into a moment point. You have stepped into a silent moment because you have opened yourself to the universe. You have opened yourself to everything, and you are waiting until that card comes up and that card gets flipped over and you see what that card says. Now, this is obvious when you're doing something like, working with a tarot deck or some kind of a spiritually oriented tool in that way. However, it happens all the time. Every moment in your life is a message, is an opportunity to expand into the universe. We've told you this once before in the channeling on everything is a message, but we want to go into this a little bit deeper and tie it now to the whole concept of the moment points, of timelines. Because the reason a moment point, which is actually a point of time that is so infinitesimally small, it cannot be measured. It is beyond measurement. That's how small a moment point is. And yet, that is the most powerful tool, awareness, that you have actually available to you constantly. Because in every moment point, you are selecting a new timeline. And in every moment point, you are teaching yourself about the universe. Because you come into this moment point, and then you burst out the universe from that moment point. And this is happening millions, billions of times a day. Every moment point to moment point to moment point to moment point, of which there are many more than what we've just said. So within each of those moment points, throughout your existence, because that's all you ever have is the moment point. That's all that ever exists is that moment point. In each and every one of those moment points, as we've said before, you are choosing a past, a present, and a future. You are choosing a vibration that incorporates all three of those multifaceted aspects of your existence. And you're choosing them so that you can learn. So they will provide you with an opportunity to experience God, to experience the universe, to experience all that is. So, in the moment point, you're choosing a timeline, you've chosen the past, and you know how complicated the past can be. Think of your past as you construct it at this moment. You are a certain age, all those years, at least the ones you remember, all those incidents that you remember, those are being reconstructed every time you choose a moment point. You can change the past in the moment point and construct a different past from the one that you know now. The next moment point, it can be a totally different past. In general, you don't do that. in general, you construct and change the past slowly over time. Because you remember some things, and other things you either have suppressed into your subconscious or you've changed and actually dropped out of your past from a past that you may have attached yourself to before. For the most part, you don't change the past very much. You can. Over having many moment point experiences, yes, you do change the past. And you can see this when you get together, with a sibling and you remember something from the past that you had both shared, and one person remembers something totally different from what another person remembers. And that's the experience of having changed your past over time. So the past does change. And that's because in the moment point, you construct the entire past in each moment point. And you can drop things, you can add things, you can push things under the carpet for later. You don't want to completely drop them, but you don't want to have them at the surface of your memory either. There's a lot of your past is constructed in that way. And then you also have a social past that is larger and shared with other entities, other beings. And going back to what we said before about the universe being infinite, there are, of course, an infinite number of pasts. And so it's not that hard to actually match up your past memories in any moment point. You have to find others that have comparable past memories to work with. So there's a lot more that can be said about the past, but that's as far as we want to go today. And then you are selecting a present. And the present, in some ways, is the most important. The present lasts only at moment point. It is infinitesimally small, but it is infinitely powerful. The smaller something is, the more powerful it can be, if you understand how that works. That moment point is right there in the center between the past and the present that you've created, and you've got this huge past that's being created, and you've got this considerable future potential that's being created. And that moment point's like that, right there in that, where those two things come together, like in an infinity diagram, how it loops. It's a constant, continuous loop, but you have that point where where the line crosses itself. Where that cross takes place, that is the moment point. And one loop is the past and the other loop is the future. And actually, neither the past nor the future is bounded in any way. But in that moment point, the most important thing you're doing is choosing your vibration. What is the vibration that you are generating, that you are adopting, that you are putting out to the world? That is what's chosen in that moment point. And when we say vibration, you can think of it as emotions, perhaps sadness, happiness, love, jealousy. But it's actually considerably deeper than that. But when it comes to the surface, it's often expressed initially as a type of emotion before it gets expressed out in terms of words and physical form. And so choosing what that emotion is going to be in that moment point then affects the past and affects the future. It tells you how you're going to interpret the past, and it tells you how you're going to view the future. So it's actually perspectives on both, perception of both the past and the future. What's so important about it is how you perceive the past through the emotion that you're generating will determine how you will perceive and move into the future. So, the future. The future is probabilistic. The future is based on probabilities, based on the moment point vibration that you're putting out, which then defines the content and perception of the past and defines the range of possibilities in the future. Again, looking at that infinity symbol, where those lines cross, when you immediately move into the past and into the future, it's actually very narrow. It's kind of like a triangle. Lines are coming together, and then they expand out larger and larger. And as I said, there's really there is a loop in the infinity, but in reality, there is no bounded end either into the past or into the future. But what you are doing is narrowing that future in that moment point. Now, you're moving from moment point to moment point to moment point, and you're changing your vibration moment point to moment point to moment point. And so you are scanning a wide range of possibilities in the future from which you are also at the same time trying to narrow things down. So this is constantly taking place. And that's how the future comes into being. It all starts in that moment point, and it all starts with how you are vibrating to the world. So what this means is you need to vibrate positively. If you want a positive future, you vibrate positively. You vibrate and respond positively to things that you would like to see drawn to you. Because the universe that you create, the past, the present, and the future, all of it is drawn to you based on the vibrations that you are putting out. Now, the vibrations you're putting out are very complex. There's not one single vibration, even though you may see charts and tables that say, this is the vibration of this. In fact, you are a multiplicity of different vibrations. Every cell in your body has a slightly different vibration. Every memory, every intention in your mind has a slightly different vibration. And so you're bringing all those vibrations together to generate the universe that you experience from that moment point. Now, we said that in each of these moment point experiences is basically there are lessons that you can learn in everything that you see, because everything that you see is a reflection of the vibration that you have created in that moment point. If you're open to life, the theme of today's talk, you can look at anything in your environment, anything you see, anything you hear, anything you feel, and you can learn about yourself, about the universe in each and every one of those things, because each and every one of them come from that moment point, that crossing point in the infinity. And that moment point, that crossing point, that is God. That is the all that is beyond manifestation. So in every moment point, you are stepping into the unmanifest being of everything, the I am presence, the unified field of life. And then you are bursting out. It's like a big bang of the universe happening moment point after moment point after moment point. That is how life works. And so in each of those moment points, if you have the consciousness to feel that moment point, then you are feeling that God consciousness. That is what God consciousness is. It's being aware of the moment point. The less you are aware of it, the further out you are from that God consciousness, your particular consciousness at any particular point in time. And sometimes you're way out in those far loops of the infinity circle, either in the past or in the future, and you're nowhere near where all of this comes from. And then other times when you're meditating, for example, it brings you in closer. And other times, even when you're not meditating, you're much closer to that. So that's how consciousness works as well. How close you are to experiencing that transcendent moment point that happens constantly throughout your life. So these are some things to consider. Opening to life. Basically, opening to the wonder that you are creating at every moment. And what can that teach you? What can that leaf teach you? What can that rock teach you? What can that car that just passed on the street teach you? What is the lesson there? There's lessons in all of these, and those lessons are infinite. So, something to think about, a skill to develop, to ask yourself, or to ask us, higher self, what is the lesson here? The lesson is that you are everything, and everything is you. The lesson is to quiet your mind, to find that moment point, that crossing of infinity, of the past and the future, and to make that the center of your being, the center of your awareness. And from there, everything will be open to you. All of life will be open to you. We love you. Namaste.